Hello, everybody, and welcome
Hello.
to our first one with Alex, Peaked in High School here. Front Yard Fantasy Q&A with the trade charts available that you see on the screen now. My name is Josh. I'm here as always with my great friend John Luke Garofalo. How you doing, Jo?
Doing fantastic. How are you, Josh?
I'm doing great on this. It's afternoon now for me.
Hump day.
Yeah. Hump day. And we are joined by our friend Peaked in High School, aka Alex, who creates these wonderful trade charts. How you doing, Alex?
I'm doing well, guys. I'm also excited that it is Wednesday.
You don't hear that too often.
Well, it's better than Tuesday. I don't know.
That's true. We're making our way through the week, huh?
Yeah.
You already got some love in the chat here, Alex. You are a legend. That's facts right there.
Yes.
I mean, I'm merely a mortal, but barely is what I would say.
Just barely, yes.
Yeah. More of a demigod. Yeah,
there you go.
Got it.
See, on the same page.
Yeah.
Man, but
we're here
to
answer. Changed. This chart has changed just since last week when we did this.
So I actually had an issue when I ran it. One of my QC parameters on my code says if the sum of the values changes more than 30%, it flags it. And I was like, oh shit, what broke? So I went and looked through it. Nothing was broken on the most recent iteration. It just had a lot of movement. Same with last week. So I think we really start to see the shift week 4, week 5, where people were dug in. But now we're seeing it, week 7, week 8, where we're letting go of those preconceived that draft rankings, and we can see people really moving around. We see Pitts moving up where he needs to be. We see, Kelsey and those guys dropping. But there's a lot of movement this week.
Yeah, I mean, what stands out to me the most, and we were talking about it a little before the stream, is maybe DJ Moore here really taking a significant drop, going down 7 points. He used to be up next to more like Terry McLaurin, AJ Brown, Calvin Ridley area, but now he's down next to Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, Deontay Johnson. I like those guys as well, but I don't know. It feels like DJ Moore could be a guy that moves up in the future.
Yeah. I think he's one of those high variance players, right? Like if you're really pushing and you think you can get him down at the 25.5 value, I would be buying for sure. I would absolutely not sell him at that. He's just a stud, and he's catching the ball, he's making it happen, even if it's Darnold, who is technically a quarterback, I guess.
Yeah, I want to see what his
technically a quarterback.
Technically the quarterback. I want to see what his target shares. So DJ Moore is 27% target share, which is very high. Very high. So I think, what we've been seeing is just a product of the offense not really moving. But as soon as they do, I mean, DJ Moore is the guy there.
Yeah. And maybe CMC coming back.
Might open it up. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Justin in here saying, excited to tune in for the first time. Welcome in, Justin. And then he's got a question for us. I've often heard that trading for same position players not advised because someone loses. After seeing many trade value chart responses from Redditors saying this list is so bad, why don't we encourage more same position trades? What do you guys think?
Well, it just comes down to if they're playing the same position, what kind of value are you really gaining? You got to think something that the other person doesn't know. And a lot of times that just doesn't pan out. What are you really gaining in this? When you're making a fantasy trade, you're trying to improve your team. And when you're trading a tier 1 wide receiver for another tier 1 wide receiver, what does that really do for either of you guys, right?
Yeah, it's like a lateral move.
Yeah, it's fundamentally creating a winner and loser, right? Like my goal every time I'm trading is to make a win-win situation. And when you're just doing a positional swap, someone is going to win that. And it's not always going to be you. And if it is you and it's your opponent loses, they're probably not going to trade with you next year or even next week. So why open yourself up to that risk when you should be looking for swapping your RB for a running back or for a wide receiver or a tight end? Like those are the type of trades that make a league better, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that the trading in the same position makes trading adversarial, which it's not. And when you look at this from like a game theory perspective, you should be collaborating with your trade partner in order to increase both of your chances, because you're both facing the rest of your league mates. So it's you're sort of like you're collaborating in this adversarial context, but you're collaborating in order to increase both of your chances.
Yeah. Justin also came in and said, so for example, someone is saying Taylor is so much better than Zeke. Well, if you feel that way, go trade Zeke for Taylor. I mean, you can. And like I always say, trading makes fantasy fun. If you want to get those trades in there, by all means, do it. do it. If that's going to create more fun for you, then fine. It doesn't bother me, right? It's just like when we're giving advice in regard to that, it's like it makes it hard for us to give you advice, if it's not really improving your team and they're in the same tier. But if you think you're improving your team by doing that same positional trade, then go for it, in my opinion.
Yeah, you got to remember trade values are they're not objective, right? Like it doesn't mean that Jonathan Taylor is like guaranteed to have more points than Joe Mixon. It's just it's an approximation. So it's a good question, though. Very good question. TV saying I'm one of the disgruntled Swift PPR owners.
Why are you disgruntled?
Why are you disgruntled? Yeah, it's been a good season for you.
No, Swift is low on the chart. I had someone threatened to punch me in the throat. And I was like, it's like, these aren't my ranks, guys.
You do have a punchable throat. You do.
I do. It is.
And I think people have to realize this is the value across the community. It's not your personal value. It's just what we're seeing Deandre Swift is getting traded for, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So he's at 36.5. Where would you two put him? We're looking at full point PPR in this scenario.
Where would I put him? So in my mind, he's probably closer to Aaron Jones, realistically, in a PPR league when it comes down to it.
So I was slotting him in right above Nick Chubb. So right at, I'd say 44. I would trade him straight up for Diggs, is where I had him.
Yeah,
personally. I think that's perfect.
I think that's a good spot for him for sure.
Yeah.
Diggs,
Kelsey. Yeah. At least. Yeah. Yeah. 45. Yeah. Okay. We're in agreement with the chat.
Yeah. Nick Butterball saying, morning, everybody. Morning, Butterballs. Bam saying, hey, fellas. What up, Bam? And Jordan in here. I guess we could very much confuse Jordan because we're normally live at 3 p.m. playing our fantasy football game show, but we got a little extra show in here for you today.
Speaking of the devil, by the way, guys, we do a live stream every weekday, Monday through Friday on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter at 3 p.m. Eastern time.
Every weekday.
Go ahead and hit that follow every weekday, Monday through Friday. Go ahead and hit that like button, hit that follow button. Also on Fridays, we do our FanDuel live stream. It's we play games on the FanDuel channels Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern time. And then on Sunday, we do our Sunday game recap where we recap all of Sunday's games from a fantasy perspective, also on FanDuel's channels. Come check us out sometime. We have a great time. We like to have fun.
We like to have fun.
And if anyone has any questions, any trade questions, any value questions, we would love to answer them for you.
Yeah, throw them in the chat. We're here till 12:30.
Yeah. What time's the one on Sunday, guys? You said it was after the
7 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, after it's after the main slate of games, right before the Sunday night game.
Perfect. Okay.
Yep. So Jay came in here and said, made a trade yesterday. I gave Chubb, Amari Cooper, Bateman, and got Christian McCaffrey, Chuba, and James Robinson. How did I do according to the trade chart? Well, I guess we're going to have to do a little bit of math here, but let's see. Let me get my handy dandy calculator out.
So let's see. Chubb is 43.5. You got 43 approximate here. Let's see. CMC.
Wait,
I'm looking at the wrong column.
Okay.
Here.
Okay. So we got Amari Cooper down here at 21,
which is low, but probably reasonable.
Right?
I mean, if you look, he really hasn't been performing very, very well. Hasn't been getting many targets, so I'm not actually as surprised by that. I'm surprised to see Antonio Brown right above him.
And then Bateman is really. Bateman's only what one or two. I'm betting
he's 3.5 here actually.
Oh, okay.
He gained 2.5 in value over the last week.
Second game back makes sense. Solid target share in his second game as well.
Yeah. And we got CMC at 39.5. Did I see that right? And then
that's correct.
Chuba. So there's also some added benefit when you have both CMC and Chuba. It takes
you're locking
2
up
spots.
That backfield.
Yeah, you're locking it up. Chuba's at 9, and then we got Robinson at
40.
Wow,
yeah.
40.
Wow.
That's quite the jump. So according to this trade chart, the CMC, Chuba, and Robinson side, it has significantly more value, actually. It's 68 compared to 88.5. And if I remember correctly, Jay, when we were talking about it on the stream yesterday, we were saying we're on that CMC, Chuba, and James Robinson side.
Yeah. Yeah. It's wild. If you would have told us in the preseason James Robinson is valued more than CMC, that would have been wild.
Yeah, I mean, you would have had to know it was an injury, which is
exactly
shocking. No, it's
A lot of people are calling CMC the next Todd Gurley, huh?
Man, they're
That
so
hurts.
quick. They're so quick with the comparisons. All right, McButterball says, someone offered me Kelsey for Eckler. I'd hate to lose Eckler, but I have some depth, and it's a big upgrade on tight end. I have Taylor, Chubb, Swift. I've been streaming tight ends with Kittle on IR. What do you guys think about this trade?
So he has Kittle. Kittle's going to be coming off the IR, I would assume, in the next couple of weeks. And, while he's not necessarily Travis Kelce level, I'm sure he's actually kind of getting pretty low on this trade chart. He is at 12. So right next to TJ Hawkinson, though.
So Kelce had a big drop this week, -7.
Yeah.
He's also banged up, right? He was on the injury report last week, and
the team did not look very good.
Yeah, and he looked like he was in some pain while he was playing. So I think there was they're baking in some of that concern for sure.
Yeah, I'm not making this trade. I normally would say, sure, if you're in a small enough league where the tight end, the smaller the league, the more the tight end position matters, having that advantage there, because you're playing your opponents more frequently. And so if normally I would say yes, but since you have Kittle, I don't know that, and given the fact that all these running backs are injured, I think you should be getting more for Eckler, honestly.
Yeah, I think it's selling Eckler a little low. He does have he has Swift, he has Taylor, so he has the depth.
Yeah.
Must be like an 8 or 10 team league, because that's a lot of really good running backs.
It's stacked.
Yeah, that's solid. But I would probably hold off. I would be the same way.
Yeah,
I'd be willing to make the trade. I think Travis Kelce is going to be a top tier fantasy option for the rest of the season. I know the value is you're losing value on it, especially according to the trade chart, but I'm definitely willing to make the trade, especially considering you have 4 top 12 running backs. This is awesome. You have great running back situation. My only concern would be, what do your wide receivers look like? And can you flip one of these wide receivers for maybe a package of TJ Hawkinson and a upgrade at wide receiver? Maybe that's something you could look at as well. Maybe
possibly. Quarterback too. Especially in those short teams, if you could see someone that needs a running back and they have a QB and something, that might be, take a look, see what you can get 2-for-1s or whatever when you're selling Eckler.
Yeah, and I might try and target one of these 2 through 5 tight ends. The Pitts, the Andrews, Wallers, because you might be able to get more value out of it. At the end of the season, I don't know how big of a gap Kelce is going to have, from the tight end too. I think last year was like 30 or 40 points, which was significant, but I don't know if that's going to happen again this year.
Yeah, Waller has not looked good, and we can see that his value is dropping. But in my mind, he's a trade for target. I think once he's healthy, and he's not going to play this week, the Raiders are on a bye. But I think that's just giving him more time to get healthy. And I think he's an elite tight end, and Derek Carr loves throwing him the football. I know it hasn't really panned out other than week 1, but I do expect things to get better for Darren Waller.
Yeah, I agree.
Saying 8 team, I believe you.
Yeah,
yeah, with those running backs.
Yeah. And so in that case, it gets a little closer, right? Because that tight end gives you a nice advantage. And I would be with Josh too. I think it's fine if you want to make that trade. I still would probably try and target one of the second tier guys for cheaper, get more value out of it, and maybe get someone back who you think has a lot of value, or who is currently down, but it might be a good buy low.
Yeah. Especially if you're not starting all those running backs. There's a lot of leagues out there that are 2 flex.
Yeah.
So you could quite possibly be starting, but if you're not, it's probably time to make a move there.
Yeah. Carlos saying, this analysis is amazing. Thank you, Carlos. Good to see you again, my friend. And number 2, I'm looking at Emmanuel Sanders. Consistency says that I should keep Sanders, but trade rankings say I should probably trade him. I'm torn. Advice.
Emmanuel Sanders is at 8.5 value.
8.5. Wow,
that's
right
enough?
Devonta Smith. That's a bit surprising.
You think it should be more, right? He's on a high-powered offense. He seems to be getting, and he's integrated, right? He's part of that offense now. He's getting those
using
looks.
The deep ball. Yeah.
Yeah, he's been consistent as hell the last 4 weeks, scoring 26, 13, 20, 14 fantasy points the last 4 weeks.
Yeah.
He's going to be using this offense. It's crazy to say, but yeah, I think Emmanuel Sanders is absolutely growing. I would rather have Michael Pittman. I'd rather have Cortland Sutton, T. Higgins, Michael Thomas.
The fact that he's so close to them is a bit surprising to me, because I would much rather have those guys too, Josh.
I'll take Emmanuel Sanders at this point over Tyler Lockett, Jalen Waddle, Julio Jones, and Devontae Smith, actually.
Yeah. Really? I think I would take Devontae Smith and Waddle. I might take Sanders over Jones and Lockett, though.
But I mean, you don't have to sell. I mean, one, it's a game. If you want to watch Sanders, you want to own him, or you want to roster him, do it. Have fun.
Yeah.
But that being said, if the league is high on him, if you can get a 15 value in a package, poke around. It never hurts. But he's absolutely not a must sell. Hold him, play him. It's fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Great question, Carlos. Brandon saying, love the list. I use it as a Bible when attempting trades. Thank you. Seriously, Alex, thank you.
This is
we all thank you. Jordan saying, side effects of subscribing: hand movements, 35 and straight vibing, yelling and making poop jokes. That is what we're about here at Front Yard Fantasy. Justin asking, Alex, how do you calculate 2-for-1 trades? Is there a percentage of the value you would take off for the side with the 2 players? So essentially, are you valuing the added roster spot you're getting by packaging?
Absolutely. So I actually did a study on it using a bunch of data from our friend John's website. Castillo. I wasn't going to try his last name. So I pulled it. He gave me access to the back end of his database. I took it. I parsed it. Yeah, phrasing. And then what I did is I actually looked at 2-for-1 trades and what the overpay was, and I published or posted about this on Reddit. If you go into my post, you can find it. But I made this really cool looking graph that looked at 2-for-1, 3-for-1, and 3-for-2 trades, and the overpay percentage. And some of it the answer was it depends on how big of a trade it is. So I ended up drawing what was called the stud line because I like to make up terms. If you're,
I like it.
Yeah. So you can look, the graph really just went flat, and then like really went up when you started buying stud players. So it was really, the answer is it depends. It really depends how much value you're looking at on either side. I wish I had that handy to post, but I posted it maybe June or July of this year on Reddit, and it was a pretty looking graph.
We can throw it in the description too after the stream. We'll go find it and throw it in the description. So feel free to come back and check that out. Really great question. Chase asking, how likely is it for someone to trade for Michael Thomas? I'm trying to trade him and Damian Harris for a running back upgrade, but not sure if anyone will bite. So this is pretty interesting to me because I was kind of surprised to see how highly valued Michael Thomas is here. I know he's very talented. I was high on him coming to the season before he got hurt, but I'm not sure that he's going to be ready, or that I'm not as confident that I would say I would take him over T. Higgins by any means. What do you guys think about Michael Thomas?
Yeah, T. Higgins. You're right. There's a couple people around him. I would rather have T. Higgins. I'd probably rather have Michael Pittman. But it seems about right. Just because of the upside factor, what you could envision what he could do. Like at the top, if he come back and he's completely healthy, he's the same old Michael Thomas. You pair him with Jameis Winston, you could envision big things happening. I'm not quite that optimistic. But I think his value is fair. It's not like it's crazy high, 12 points. You look at the running backs next to him, he's valued less than Zach Moss, for instance.
Yeah.
So right next to Miles Sanders. So it makes sense. It makes sense to me.
Yeah. The key is to find the person in your league who is me, because I have him in 5 of 5 leagues, including a dynasty startup where I hate myself. Like his potential is just so high. You just have to find either the Saints fan or the person who just sees that and then poke around. That's really the answer. I think every league probably has someone who wants him, but maybe not. Like I wouldn't trade him for a 12 because I had him 3 years ago or 2 years ago where he carried me to a championship. So
you think he'll rise. Yeah, if no one in your league thinks that they're not optimistic on him, I would just hold him until he does come back. In which case you should have some more leverage. We should see his value rise if he's back, if he's healthy. Like Josh said, there's no one really else in that offense to be getting the target. So, I would just wait and see, because that might just give you a nice boost and some more leverage. Great question here, Bambo. Is Terry and Ridley comparison really that close? Not trade value. In my opinion, I don't think it's necessarily that close. I think Terry is just in a far better position and less competition. Let's look at their values here.
Yep. So we got Calvin Ridley at 31.5 and Terry McLaurin at 30 flat. So it seems the consensus is that Calvin Ridley is slightly more valuable than Terry McLaurin, and Bam's coming in here saying no. I guess he's saying that Terry's in a far better position and less competition. I don't know about a far better position. I'd rather have Matt Ryan throw me the ball than Taylor Heineke.
Yeah,
but you're absolutely right about the less competition aspect of this.
Yeah. Yeah, and Calvin Ridley has played two less games than Terry McLaurin, which is why he's probably in your mind like way more valuable. But I think honestly, I think they're very close in value. I think this trade, where they are in this trade chart, is pretty accurate to where I would probably rank them.
Yeah, same tier. The AJ Brown, Lamb, Hopkins. I mean, they're all. You can make an argument for any of those 5 players to be at the top or the bottom of that tier because they're at the point where they have warts, right? Where they have those downsides. They have there's uncertainty baked
Right.
into them. Yeah.
Right.
And I real fast on Calvin Ridley, I think that people kind of perceive him as not having a very good season, but he's having a very consistent season, especially in a PPR league. He hasn't really shown that upside yet, and that's what I think people are worried about. But he's had over 10 targets in all but one game. Week 1, he had 8 targets, and he scored over 10 fantasy points in a PPR league every week. He's very consistent. I think Calvin Ridley is a buy low if someone wants to sell him low. I mean, this isn't necessarily buy him low at 31.5 points. But having said that, I do value Terry McLaurin ever so slightly more.
The only problem is he wasn't drafted to be a 10-point PPR player. He was drafted in the second, third round where he should be a 20+ points. So I don't know. It's does he look soft on the field? Is there something going on personally that we just can never know? It's hard to say. We'll have to just see the next couple of weeks and see if he can turn it around.
Yeah. Well, I know his average depth of target is like pathetically low this year. Yeah. It's incredibly low. And compared to past years where he had it was in double digits,
Right.
So I think it's part of it. I think they're just using him in a slightly different role. And Kyle Pitts is more of that big play threat for this offense, which is crazy, which is why a part of the reason we're seeing Kyle Pitts' value go up so much, I think, too.
Yeah, I completely agree. Carlos, he's elaborating here. So he needs a running back and thinking of trading Sanders or Claypool. So Claypool, he's got 13 trade value according to the chart. Sanders, as we mentioned before, 8.5. Are there any running backs you guys would comparable running backs you might go and target with either of those two guys?
I mean, I would try and get Elijah Mitchell. I think that's a decent target. I think you can do that coin flip of Melvin Gordon versus Javonte Williams, those type of guys, but maybe even a little bit lower. Zach Moss coming off of his bye last week might be a good target. Any of those guys I would be willing to trade either Claypool or Sanders for, depending if you have that need.
I would probably be trying to hold Claypool at this point, just because I personally think his value is gonna shoot up in the next few weeks with Juju being out of there. He's coming off a bye, and so people are not, he doesn't really have that recency bias bump. So I would be trying to use Emmanuel Sanders to target one of these running backs, and I love like Emmanuel Sanders for Zach Moss, that trade. I think that would be great, or maybe even Michael Carter or gosh, CEH. That's crazy.
I want to take a moment.
Take your time. Do it, Alex.
Yeah. So in Dynasty, my Dynasty league, I'm only in one. The CEH owner just offered me CEH for Khalil Herbert.
Ooh. No. Wait. Sorry, they offered you CEH.
Yeah. Well, actually, it's more than that. CEH, Lazard, and Mark Ingram for Khalil Herbert.
Oh my God, take that.
Yeah, I like Khalil Herbert. All right, fine. Everyone said take it.
I like Khalil Herbert too. He has looked fantastic.
He looks good.
Awesome.
He does.
Awesome.
He does.
You're right.
He's
but
Aaron
I'm
Jones.
taking that trade.
But I'm taking that trade.
Fine.
What was his draft capital?
Fifth round.
Khalil Herbert, 5th round. Yeah. And so was Aaron Jones, right? So is that why you made that comparison?
No, I think they look like the same player out there, honestly.
Gotcha.
Like the way that they move. I mean, no one's ever seen those two guys in the same room together.
we can't rule it out.
Yeah. But yeah, I think they were both 5th round picks, if I remember Aaron Jones correctly, because Jamal Williams was drafted the same year as Aaron Jones, ahead of Aaron Jones. Mm-hmm. So I'm just trying to 5th round makes a lot of sense there. But yeah, Khalil Herbert has looked fantastic, but CEH just in that offense, 1st round draft pick capital. I know he hasn't looked like a world beater, but I'm taking CEH there.
Oh. Yeah, same. All right, let's quickly get through some of these questions. We got about 5 minutes left. Khalil Herbert or Elijah Mitchell in week 8?
Oh, man. So let me just look up the matchups real
Chicago
fast.
Versus San Fran, I think. Right?
Yeah. Yep. San Francisco's playing Chicago, and Khalil. They're playing each other.
Well, shit.
Well, Khalil Mack is out, right? They just said that. So and Akeem Hicks.
Mm-hmm.
for
So
Chicago.
I have Elijah Mitchell ranked a little bit higher, 2 spots higher than Khalil Herbert myself. But I'm high on Elijah Mitchell more than most, and I like him. I like Elijah Mitchell. I'd be starting Elijah Mitchell, even though I really like Khalil Herbert too. I'd be trying to find ways to get both of them in my lineup if I can.
Yeah. I think it's actually maybe even format specific. PPR, Mitchell's not catching anything.
Yeah, you're right.
So I would do Herbert over him. Standard the other way. But I think it's really who do you want to root for in that game? I think you could pick that
You
player,
could go
right?
that route, yeah. Yeah, I mean, the fact that Elijah Mitchell isn't getting targeted in PPR is definitely worrisome. Like looking at his trade value chart here, jumped up 6.5 points, which makes sense. I'm bullish on Elijah Mitchell, but in redraft, I might be trying to trade him away. Without any of those targets, he's just going to have the volume to really make a fantasy impact.
Yeah.
So I know that wasn't really the question: is Khalil Herbert or Elijah Mitchell? This week, I would rather have Elijah Mitchell, but
they're
it is
super
close. It is very close.
So I liked Alex's advice here. Who do you want to root for? Pick that guy.
Yeah, go that route.
They're literally that close.
Connor asking, would you trade Calvin Ridley away from Amari Cooper? Yes. Oh no, sorry, no.
I would not.
No, I would not. I would rather have Ridley.
Yeah, and the value is going to show that on this chart. 21 for Amari Cooper, 31.5 for Calvin Ridley. I think that's probably the gap. I think it's probably a gap of maybe a Michael Carter or a Zach Moss kind of type.
Yeah, Jordan in here saying Matt Ryan's getting comfortable in Arthur Smith's offense. He's got 10 touchdowns, 1 interception the last 3 games. Targets have been there, just production hasn't resulted. Yeah, I expect regression there for Ridley and Pitts. I expect Pitts to continue being much better.
And what about Cordero, huh? I saw he kind of raised in this chart too.
Yeah, he did.
So he's 26. So
all right, so
those 3 options look great.
Yeah, absolutely. Jabo the Goat asking, so he's in a league with 2 QBs, 2 QB league. Only undefeated team has Mahomes and Hurts. He's got a deep wide receiver roster. Would you trade someone like Carr? Would it be worth giving up Daniel Jones and DeAndre Hopkins for Derek Carr?
I probably wouldn't do that. So this ranks are obviously only 1 QB. You can get access to my 2 QB/Superflex ranks over on Patreon. But that's a lot. I don't think Carr is that good of a quarterback. No. And I know he's been doing very well this year, and I think he will be a great QB2, but I just don't see the difference between Daniel Jones and him as is that much, to be honest. D-Hop is a stud. Yeah.
No, I would not do that. You need someone much better than Carr to make any kind of consider that at all.
Personally. Fully agree.
Like, I don't even know if I'm considering that a 2 QB league for like a top tier quarterback. Like, I don't know.
A lot. It's a lot to give up.
Yeah.
Ben asking, he doesn't know how to value CMC. He has a league where he's rostering him. Just an okay record. Should I continue holding at this point and try to limp into the playoffs? Yeah. Yep. I'm holding CMC.
Your CMC's healthy. He is an elite fantasy back. I don't care what anyone else says. It'll be great.
And at this point, you've eaten all of the weeks anyway.
Yeah.
like if you needed to do this, you needed to do this 4 weeks ago. You're almost back. He's in theory almost back. Like it's time to hold. It's time to keep going.
Yeah. I traded for CMC, gave away Stephon Diggs for CMC. Right. It was like the week he was coming back, allegedly, before he went on IR. And I'm still okay with it, you know? So, all right. I don't know how to say your name. So there's that. Sup guys, 7-0. Therefore, mainly trading for playoffs. He offered Gibson. He or she offered Gibson and Javonte Williams for Chubb. Second proposal was same combo for Saquon and Tyler Lockett. Hope they agree because they need running backs.
So Gibson and Javonte Williams for Saquon and Tyler Lockett,
or for Gibson? No,
or for Chubb, or one of them for Chubb.
Yeah, I mean those both seem like potentially win-win trades for a team that needs some depth, and either of them might make sense depending on what they're trying to do. If they have Saquon, if it's the same team that has Saquon and Chubb, those poor bastards. That's the perfect kind of trade. Maybe if it seems a little light on value for potentially both of those players, so I don't think it's going to get done, but they could be win-win trades.
Yeah, I think I like both of them.
Yeah,
especially that second one, Saquon and Tyler Lockett. Giving up.
Once Russell Wilson comes back.
Is it Gibson and Javonte or Gibson or Javonte? I usually read the slash as or.
Oh, maybe it's no. It has to be and, right? Otherwise, it's way too low.
Yeah.
It has to be and.
Gibson for Chubb straight up. Yeah.
Yeah, that wouldn't make sense.
Yeah. Not with that shin injury that Gibson's dealing with.
Yeah. All right, Bam in here saying in a 2-for-1 deal, what would AB and Mixon potentially get me? Do you think I should hold Mixon and maybe package AB and Damian Harris for maybe a high tier running back 2 or low tier running back 1? Let's check out their values. Let's break this down.
Yeah, so Damian Harris has a 20.5 value, and Antonio Brown is sitting at 21.5. So if you combine that, that's 43 about. So you're looking at this range according to the trade chart, but maybe a little bit lower because you're giving up 2 players. I mean, yeah, if you could package those 2 guys to get anyone in this range, Joe Mixon, James Robinson, Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, Deandre Swift, Darrell Henderson.
Well, no, it looks like it's AB plus Mixon. And then the second trade is AB plus D Harrison. So Mixon plus AB is 62. You might be able to get something like Jonathan Taylor, Austin Eckler, Aaron Jones range. Maybe.
I don't think I'm trying to do that, though.
No.
I think that the Mixon's value is close enough to all those guys to where losing AB hurts you more than it helps you.
But like you're saying, AB and D Harris are, and Harris, with that's a very reasonable range.
Yes, AB and Harris. If I could get Darrell Henderson, man, that's a close one though. You have to have wide receiver depth still to make that move because AB is a locked and loaded starter every week going forward when he's healthy. But he was just seen with crutches in practice today.
Yeah. And it's also format specific, right? Like if you're in standard, Harris of course has more value, or Darrell Henderson has less increased value, right? Because Harris, I don't think has hands to catch a ball apparently, whereas Henderson will catch a couple here or there at least.
Yeah. And, I honestly, just the Patriots don't want to use him as pass catcher running back too. They've always had that, James White role. And so it's just not what they're looking for going forward. So we have a question here. Do I start Higbee or Schultz in PPR this week? I don't think Michael Gallup is going to be back this week. So I do lean Schultz personally on a week-to-week basis.
Coin flip.
It's a coin flip.
Yeah.
Schultz's involvement in that offense has just been, he's getting the targets. So I like what I've seen so far where Higbee, he absolutely could score more than Schultz in any given week, but I just trust Schultz's volume a little bit more.
I think he's safer for sure. I think Higbee, you're hoping for 2 catches, 27 yards and a touchdown, which I believe is his stat line any week that you haven't been.
So Justin also coming in here saying, do I trade Damian Harris in Hollywood and get Gibson and Lockett PPR redraft? So we're how close are Damian Harrison and Gibson, first of all? Okay, so they're actually the same exact value. Yeah. And coming into the season, that would have been a little crazy. But with Antonio Gibson's shin injury, he has a slightly fractured hairline fracture in his shin. Any week, this could become a significant injury, a serious issue where he can't even play the rest of the year. So I understand this value. Do you think these guys belong next to each other?
Yeah, I mean, I do, just because I think if New England is not winning the game, we're going to see Harris not be involved. But I see this trade as a lose-lose. I think you're inviting risk into Gibson with the injury, and I see Lockett right now as a downgrade over Hollywood. And it's a 2-for-2 positional swap, which once again creates that winner and a loser. I think this is a terrible trade, and I would not do this.
I agree completely. So Lockett has done nothing. It doesn't look like he's going to be even startable without Russell Wilson in there. And Hollywood Brown has looked fantastic almost every week. So Damian Harris or AB or Devontae Smith, start one. AB.
Yeah. AB. Well, if he's healthy.
If he's obviously again, he was seen on crutches. He was seen on crutches today, apparently, or I crutch. He was at practice and I crutch. There's a good chance he misses this game. He didn't play last week. If he doesn't play, if he plays, I'm still playing him over these guys. If he doesn't play, let me see my flex rankings. I think I'm leaning Damian Harris, honestly.
I think it actually really depends on what you need. If you need, so let's assume AB's out as your second choice, right? If you need a floor, if you have a matchup and your team looks good, Damian Harris, I think he's going to be safer. If you need someone that might spike and might be crazy, I would maybe do Smith in PPR. So it depends. You look at your roster, you look at what you have. So you're already starting Lockett. Maybe go a little bit safer. But that's how I would approach it, especially with flex. I try to really be more contextual on what I'm trying to do that week.
That makes perfect sense. And I agree with you completely. I think Damian Harris has a little, but Devontae Smith is getting those targets every week, for the most part, except for Tampa Bay, where he got 4 targets. He's had over 6 targets. He's averaging about 8 targets a game. And he's a rookie.
What are those targets worth
throughout the year
when they're coming from?
Yeah,
Hurts?
they are short area targets.
Yeah.
You're right.
Well, no, I think Hurts is potentially the worst quarterback in the league right now.
Oh man.
Yeah, I got some hate.
What about Justin Fields, huh?
Okay, fine. Fields, I think he's a bottom 5. I think he is not good.
But he's scoring the fantasy points. We were talking about it not that long ago. He's the Blake Bortles.
He's Blake Bortles. No one has seen Blake Bortles and Hurts in the same room together, is what I'm saying. All right, what do we got next?
All right, we got should I drop AJ Dillon and get Gainwell? I got Aaron Jones. Just because you have Aaron Jones, this makes it a lot tougher. But Gainwell's got to be owned, right?
Yeah, I think you probably need to make this move. I don't know. It really depends. Do you need to start Gainwell this week?
Yes.
If you don't, AJ Dillon. I think you can see an argument either way.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have any boom player that you would be trying to acquire? I'm sitting in 2 and 5, looking to. I could potentially move Mixon, Manny Sanders, Devonta Smith, Julio Jones. Boom players.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
DK Metcalf, I think, is a boom player that I think you can get cheap, maybe.
Yeah.
Right now.
Maybe not a move when you're 2 and 5 just because of the Russell Wilson factor.
See,
who are you going to get?
I think at 2 and 5, you need to take risks. Like who cares if you go 2 and 8? But if you take a shot and have a chance to spike, that's the type of way I like to look at it. So people like, Mike Williams is one that you might be able to steal off someone. Maybe Marquise Brown. Those guys that just have the potential to Chase Claypool, right? Like you could potentially even get him cheap, and he might boom. Are there any that you're looking at? I think I'm pretty frozen.
Nope. Sorry about that, Alex.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure you were like, "Oh, what's happening here?"
Yeah. I mean, Kadarius Toney too. That's one. Ruggs. I mean, anyone that that D-Jax phylum, right? That those guys that can catch one, like those are the players that I think you have a shot at. That you just need to get. You need to acquire them and get lucky, and then you have a chance. Because at 2 and 5, there's something probably wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we're about to wrap up here, guys.
Sure.
But let's just run through a couple more of these. Let's see. Yo, how's it going? Should I use my number 2 waiver wire to get Chris Carson? Someone dropped in my 14-man league. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. If Chris Carson's playing, he's a locked and loaded running back. Even though the neck injury does scare me, but he should be owned in a 14-man league.
A couple of caveats: if you don't have an IR and if you have short benches.
Yeah.
Right. Like if
it's a 14-man league.
Yeah. I mean, unless it's a 14-man league with 3 benches and no IR, then maybe not. But if you're normal, 5 or 6 bench spots and an IR, absolutely grab him.
Yeah. This person, Slow Bean, traded Emmanuel Sanders, T. Higgins, and Latavius Murray for Chase Edmonds and Michael Pittman. Good trade.
Yes.
Yeah. You're definitely getting that upgrade at running back, and I like Michael Pittman going forward.
Yeah. He knows it. He just wanted us to. That was one of those humble brag trades. that was a good trade. Exactly. Get out of here.
Let's see. We got George Kittle available in my league. Should I drop Alexander Madison to get him? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, George Kittle has to be owned.
Yeah.
Let's see. Should I drop Gainwell and pick up Jamal Williams? I have Swift. Might be a good handcuff. I think Alex said it. Are you starting Gainwell this week? Do you need someone to start? I'm not. I'll start Gainwell over Jamal Williams. That's for sure. But you're correct. If something happened to Swift, Jamal Williams would be a fantasy running back that you want in your lineup.
I think it's really about your game theory, right? So if you grabbing Jamal Williams and let's say Swift, heaven forbid, goes down, that's kind of, yes, you have that plug and play replacement. I think depending on how you're doing, how your league is, what your record is, you have to look at that game theory of I need both of these players to be great. Mm-hmm. I need Swift and Gainwell to be great. Then I would absolutely drop keep Gainwell and not pick up Jamal Williams, if that makes sense. So like, it's, do you need the safety or do you need both of these things to happen for you to make the playoffs and win? What are you looking at?
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. We had a question, thoughts on Waddle rest of the season with Parker and Fuller possibly coming back late season. I like Waddle. He's a rookie, and he's looked very good so far. He's explosive, and they want to give him the ball. So how do I value him the rest of the season real fast? Let's see. Let me just look at the wide receiver list here. He's like a top 32 wide receiver for me, 35.
So right in the wide receiver 3 range, right? I mean, the question is he going to go down with those players back, or will the offense just be better and all of them can get more with it? I think poke around, see if you can get value, but he's definitely not a must sell to me.
Yeah. So who would you rather drop, Alex Collins or Dearness Johnson? For me, it's Dearness Johnson.
Yeah, I guess that's a nasty one.
I know I don't want to drop either, but Alex Collins looks like the starting running back for the team until Chris Carson gets back.
Yeah, Penny didn't look like the solution. So Collins against the Saints, it's going to probably be better. And I mean, Chubb might be back this week.
Yeah. All right. And then I guess this is going to be our last question and we're going to wrap up. Miles Sanders or CEH rest of season. What a fun one. So let's just look at their trade value real fast. I believe CEH has a higher trade. Yeah, 13 for CEH and 11.5 for Miles Sanders. And I agree.
You can't make me pick. I'm not going to do it.
Well, fall back onto the trade chart then at this point, right? Yeah. I go CEH here just because at least he was doing something when he was healthy, right?
Yeah. Touche. And their offense, in theory, is better, I guess.
It is. I know the Chiefs have looked bad, but it is. We're talking about the Eagles, the worst quarterback in the NFL, right, Alex?
Yeah, I stand by that. On my soapbox. And
Alex, thank you so much for coming on and doing this with us. This was a lot of fun. These trade charts really are awesome. It really is a great guide when you're trying to figure out how to package people together and what exactly someone's worth.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you guys having me on. It's great to get to talk to you. It's been a minute, so hopefully I think I'll be back next week. That's my goal, to have some lunch with you guys. I'll bring my Doritos and tinfoil to just really crinkle that up and we can all eat together.
That's beautiful. Well, I'm actually about to go eat something myself here, but this is a lot of fun, Alex. I look forward to next week. And trading makes fantasy fun. That's what I always say. Yeah. Trading makes fantasy fun. Well, just to remind everyone, again, we are live streaming every weekday at 3:00. We're going to try to do these on Wednesdays around this time. Have a nice lunch with Alex, Peaked in High School. Check his trade charts out. Check him out on Reddit. Where can they find you, Alex?
I technically have a Twitter. I don't remember what the handle is. Google it. You'll probably find it. Find me on Reddit. That's where I spend entirely too much time. And then you can always find my content on Patreon as well, where we get into more super flex ranks, 6 point per passing touchdown. I'm playing with some dynasty in the off season. And then as well as we'll get a little bit more weird with it with 3 wide receiver, as well as more flex positions potentially next year. That's my goal.
And then real fast, I like to help out the people. Should I drop Tim Patrick, Adrian Green, or Cardinals D for Chris Carson? I don't personally like holding on to 2 defenses. I would probably drop the Cardinals D for Chris Carson if they're not your starting defense. But if not, Tim Patrick. I'm fine dropping Tim Patrick at this point.
Yeah, I think Cardinals have a couple games coming up that I'm interested in, and they've been pretty solid. So I would drop Tim Patrick. I think he's very droppable.
Exactly. The Cardinals can just be your starting defense right now. Even against Green Bay without their Devontae Adams, they're okay.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
There are better defenses out there. All right, we're wrapping up, guys. Thank you again, Alex. I hope everyone has a great afternoon.
Yeah.
See ya.
See ya.